What kind of guitar and amp are you using now?
On stage, I've been using an Ibanez. It's called a Paul Stanley model. They should be in production in the next couple of months. In shape, it's very similar to the Iceman, and construction-wise, it's different. They're mahogany bodies with a maple neck, and ebony fingerboard abalone. It's a very good guitar, quite good. I was very impressed when I went to Japan the first time, just with how accommodating and how interested they are in learning, because they obviously have the facilities to make anything, and what they lack in know-how and technical expertise. I mean, that's just something that comes with talking. I mean, they'll sit with you for 2-3 hours just to know why you like certain frets, you know. So that's a lot more than can be said for a lot that's going on in this country at the moment. You know, Japan really is a country of the future.
Right. What kind of pickups are in there?
The ones that are in there, well, I've been going back and forth. Ibanez wound me some pickups, and before the guitar goes into the stores in the next month, I'll have a copy of the new pickups, because they just made a couple of new ones, because I wasn't really happy with the earliest pickups. I mean, they just they didn't cut it. You know, I don't go for super distortion. You know, I think the sound of like a patent applied for has a lot more character to it. I mean, if you want distortion, you can turn your amp up. You don't need it out of the pickup.
And what kind of amp are you using?
Marshall.
Marshall?
Yeah. People at Marshall have been really good to us. You know, for the most part, I think the days of equipment being given to you are past. And they don't give us equipment, but they service our equipment for us, and they keep everything in really great shape.
So what, you're using just one stack?
Yeah, I usually use, no, let me see, last tour I was using 2 stacks. I was using 2 heads through either 4 bottoms or 2 bottoms. It depended on the venue.
100 watt heads?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're stock?
They're stock. They're just really well kept. You know, I've seen the new Marshall heads, which we haven't been using on the road. They have a master.
Master, right?
Yeah, and they have 2 inputs as opposed to 4. Right. I was using those on this album. Right. They sound very good.
On this album, you mean your album?
My solo album, yeah. Yeah, there's Jesus. I took pictures in the studio of the guitar layout that we've been using. You know, I mean, it's like a dream. It's like having works of art all over the wall.
Do you use the same equipment in the studio for Kiss?
Well, it actually depends on the song. I used on one track for my album, I used a Gallion Kruger amp, which was just great. I mean, just really great for that gritty kind of Stonesy kind of, you know, balls kind of rhythm sound. Really, really good amp. I'm very impressed.
What's the name of that track?
It's All Right.
It's All Right?
Yeah.
One word, A-L-R-I-G?
Yeah. And outside of that, pretty much everything on the album is Marshalls. You know, at one volume or another. I think they're a lot more varied than people give them credit for. I mean, so? Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
And so obviously you like them for rhythm. A lot of people find them not quite. Yeah. You know, a little too dirty maybe for them.
Yeah. I think if you work with them a little, you know, I've been having fun with this album. I've been using EBOs a lot, and in place of, let's say, synthesizers or organs, I built up 5 or 6 tracks of EBOs, you know, and just tucked them in the background. So it's a lot, you know, a lot of unique stuff to be had.
So tell me some of the other guitars that you're using on your album.
Oh, Jesus, I used I've got 2 of those jumbo guilds, those acoustics. I've got a 12 and a 6, and the 6 is strung, you know, Nashville high string tuning.
I'm not quite sure what high string tuning is.
Well, basically, if you do it on a 12 string, you usually use all your high octave strings. You use the octave strings from a set of 12s. So in other words, you don't use any of your low strings, and on your G string you use both. That's pretty much how it's usually done. Or on a 6 string, you just use all your high string, you know, your high strings. So you use the octave of the E and the octave of the A, the octave of the D is usually the octave of the D, and then all the rest of your plain strings. But gives a really nice harpsichord kind of sound. Mm-hmm. So I've got two of those. I've got a 57 gold top with humbuckers. I've got a 59 sunburst. Wow. Let's see, 59 sunburst. Trying to picture this all in my head. A 67 double neck, a sunburst double neck, which is pretty rare.
Is that 6 and a 12 string?
Yeah, 6 and a 12. One of those new ovations with the graphite tops, the Adamus. It's the only wood on that guitar is the neck. It's a very interesting guitar. I've been using that. And
what's that called?
Adamus or an Adamus, yeah. Instead of a sound hole in the middle, it has about 4 sound holes up near where the neck joins the body. It's interesting. And a SG Les Paul Custom, a white one. And I've got some great Ibanez guitars. Really? Yeah, I've got a great black Ibanez Les Paul, which is pretty much on every song. I've got a 58V that's on a lot of stuff. The V is really a pretty versatile guitar for me. Unfortunately, I can't use a lot of that stuff on the road, but the Ibanez really suits all the purposes for road work. Jesus, there's so many guitars in the studio. A couple of sunbursts. There's oh God, I'll get you a list of what I was using.
Yeah. Are you playing lead on the album?
Yeah, I'm playing lead, but for the most part, a friend of mine I've known since Kiss got together, his name's Bob Kulick. He's in Meatloaf right now, and he took Steve Hunter's place in Cooper's band when Alice went to Australia and played with Dick Wagner, and he did Mark Farner's album. He's done a lot of stuff. He's playing lead, and I got Steve Buslow, who plays bass with Meatloaf, and another guy, Eric Nelson, who lives out here, playing bass, 2 of them, and Carmine Appice, he's playing drums, and someone from New York, Richie Fontana, and Craig Cramp, who used to be with Flo and Eddie right here. And there's some female singing, but for the most part, it's me. I tried to do as much of the album as I could myself.
Yeah. So do you think your approach to playing was different than the stuff you do with Kiss?
Yeah, quite a bit different. Because when you work within the framework of a group, we've built our audience in the past 4 or 5 years. So it wouldn't be fair to go too far from that track as Kiss, but as an individual artist, each one of us is much more open to do things their way without compromising and stretching their identities as far in either direction as possible. So, sure, I mean, it's not like this album is an operetta or anything drastically different, but yeah, in its own way, it's got a very strong identity of its own. It's there's a good deal of acoustic on there.
Is there?
Yeah. There's one track that's got a full orchestra with violins, and then there's some.
Did you arrange it?
Did I arrange it? I sat with the guy.
What's that track called?
And that track's called "Hold Me, Touch Me," and it's coming along very well.